Nestled along the banks of the Choptank River in Cambridge, the Horn Point Laboratory stands as a beacon of environmental research and education. The University of Maryland Center for Environmental Sciences is celebrating its centennial in 2025.
That means reflecting on its integral role in advancing the understanding and preservation of coastal ecosystems. So with us today, it is our pleasure to welcome Michael Saraki. He is the professor and lab director at Horn Point. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So let me ask you this. How did Horn Point Lab get started?
Well, you mentioned we're on the shore of the Choptank River, about 4 miles south of Cambridge, and we are a former DuPont estate.
Okay.
So it actually was a DuPont hunting lodge, fishing lodge, back at the early part of this last century. And so we have some of the buildings. It was a farm, a summer home for one of the DuPonts came down there. And we have a lot of interesting history about that. But the DuPonts gave it up, and they gave it to the city of Cambridge. And the city of Cambridge decided they wanted to put a college there. And this was maybe in the 1960s. And they advertised free land, 800 acres, for anyone who wants to start a college. And they didn't get any takers. So for several years, the leaders in the town of Cambridge tried. And eventually the University of Maryland said, they came to an agreement that, okay, we'll take it on as an environmental research site in the early 70s. This happened, interestingly, around a time when ecology as a science was coming together to think about systems, how systems work at like big level. And around the same time, we had the Hurricane Agnes, which dumped all this water into Pennsylvania. Water rushed into the Chesapeake Bay and changed the whole system in ways that nobody had predicted this would happen. It moved where the crabs were, it wiped out the seagrass. So there was all this interesting systems thinking, like
right.
How do you put this complex stuff together so that we can predict what'll happen? And so scientists came with new ideas about ecology, came to Horn Point Laboratory, also with a oyster hatchery, because people were very concerned about oyster populations and what had happened. So they were doing work on how to grow oysters in the lab so that then you could put them out and reseed the natural population. So there's a lot of deep history there.
Yeah, that sure is. Okay, so what is that the kind of work that they still do there today?
Some of that, yes. So we do some stuff that's a little more, you might say, esoteric or abstract, but we do work on what's called biogeochemical cycles, which is how chemistry interacts in the environment, and how things like nutrients deplete oxygen in the waters and cause low oxygen areas. We do work on harmful algal blooms. There's certain species of algae that will grow and create toxins that can be bad for humans or the native populations. So there's like this microbial biogeochemistry aspect of our work. And then we do work on living shorelines. And so in Dorchester County, we have a lot of sea level rise problems. We're losing acres of land, farmland, people's homes to rising tides. And so we do a lot of work on using, rather than building walls to keep the water back, we build natural systems like salt marshes or oyster reefs that can grow over time with the change in the sea level rise.
Okay.
So
you have an education side, right?
We do mostly. We have an environmental education center where we bring school kids in cooperation with Shore Rivers, and so we do that for school-age kids. And our training part is we're a graduate school, so we give out master's and PhD degrees. We have about 25 students on campus.
Wow. Okay, so real quick, what is the one part of Horn Point that you are most proud of?
Well, I'll say the thing we're most known for is the oysters, and I'm not an oyster biologist, and so I've been there for 2 years. It's been like a crash course on oysters for me. And oysters are like the lowliest animal. You look at them and it's like a rock, right? Like, is this really an animal? But that is so important to the health of the Chesapeake Bay, and people love oysters, and we have the largest oyster hatchery on the East Coast, producing hundreds of millions of new oysters that go back into the bay. And so right now we're finishing up what's called the 5 big sanctuaries, where we're restoring, with the state DNR and NOAA funding, we're restoring 5 major oyster reef areas, and the Minokan River is the last one we're doing this year. And if things go right, those 5 will be done, and then there's some more charted for the future. And a big part of our production also goes to the industry, so to aquaculture, oyster farmers, and to the wild harvest, and people who are farming or basically harvesting from their own reefs. We provide oysters to replenish that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So much we could talk about,
Oh, no
not
kidding.
enough time, but thank you
Right.
so much for coming in and talking about Horn Point, and congratulations on 100 years.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank
We'll talk in a
you.
second.